So, you want to play Mileena. I got you. Mileena is a pretty well-rounded character when it comes to basically all aspects of the game. I think she's actually very strong. So we'll get into her special moves to show a little bit of her strengths. So first she's got her straight sai. So something to note about these sais is that in this game they do not go full screen. They go around half screen or 2/3 of the screen. This also includes her low sai. This is important because she can't maintain a full screen presence, or else I think honestly she would be a little broken. But if you meter burn it, it does go full screen. It does cost 2 bars, but you get a full restand. So if you have the right cameo, you can combo off of that. We can do something like this, where we do this, and then Kano can kind of come in and do his thing. Well, while we're at it, we might as well just go over her low sai. So her low sai, again, doesn't go full screen, but if you meter burn it, it does. And it low profiles projectiles, and it also gives a knockdown. So if they're zoning, it gives you time to kind of go in and do your thing. And yeah, it gives you a little bit more damage. So that's always nice. She's got 2 different teleports. So one of the things you're going to notice about Mileena is that she's got a lot of different ways to move around the screen. So the first one's going to be her down teleport. So this is just her going at a downwards angle. That's why it's called down teleport. It keeps the same side with the opponent. And this is actually her armor reversal. So if I get knocked down, I pop this, and in this case, it will switch sides now. Now Mileena's on the right, Kitana's on the left. This could also be done in the air, and can also be armored in the air. So pretty useful for you to kind of get out of situations. I use it all the time, it's actually very effective. Then you got your teleport up. So if you just do it raw, it does side switch, but it just keeps, kind of just hits the opponent, and that's about it. When it comes to meter burning it, this is when you're going to be allowed to do some combos off of it. She's very selective depending on what starter you have on your string. It's going to depend on whether or not she can land this. This is going to be probably her most damaging option. So after you hit the 1-2, you pop this, and then you can kind of do your thing. It doesn't work for everything. So for example, if I do this, Kitana can go ahead and block that. That's even if I meter burn it, Kitana can still block. So you have to be a little careful about when you use it. You have to kind of know the character and understand when you could use that move and when you can't. Then you got basically another huge part of her offense is the roll. Her roll is going to be her, basically, as far as I know, it's her only launcher. Her only launcher that she herself can combo. She's got other moves that let her cameos kind of extend things, and we'll get into that. But as far as things that she could do, she doesn't need to spend any meter on this. In previous games, she would need to spend meter in order for her to get combos. Normally, it would just knock down. But in this game, if you meter burn it, that's what actually knocks down. Right? Does a little bit more damage. It's not armored. That is something that is a misconception. A lot of people try to do this raw, and they get clipped. So be very careful when you're using this. It moves. It literally hits almost full screen. So you could use this as a great movement tool. The cool thing about it is that you could use this twice in a combo. So I could start off a combo like this, and then finish it with another roll for no meter. So that's pretty decent. You just have to know her input on this is a little weird. For most players that have played Mileena, it's normal, but it's basically back and down when most games are down back. So just be wary of that. And she got her air ball. So her air ball, she kind of throws 3 sais at you. Kind of three like energy size at you, and this is also great for combos. So I could do things like this and kind of keeps them up in the air. Now if I meter burn this, I can hold it, and it's kind of like a sonic spin dash almost. No matter where you are on screen, I could be all the way back here, it's going to track to where the opponent is, and I could just kind of hold it. I could also cancel it by pressing down twice. So I could pretend I'm going to do something, and then the cameo kind of comes out and covers me. So a lot of trickery with this, but one of the cool things you can do with it is that once you hit it, you can cancel it into a different move. So I'm going to do something like this. So I can cancel it into her down teleport that could also be done in the air, just to finish it off and get that extra little bit of damage. So that's always cool. We're going to go into her anti-airs now. So old reliable is going to be down 2. It's got a really great angle, and it's 9 frames. It doesn't have a ton of range, but honestly, as an anti-air, I don't really care. I want to be able to hit them as close as I can, and have a really fast option. So that's something you could use. Then you got standing 4. So the cool thing about standing 4 is going to be if she has a cameo, she can combo off of the standing 4. So someone like Sonya, for example, or even Kano. So we could try this with Kano. You know, you can kind of get some stuff off of it. Then you got forward 4. So forward 4 is going to be her double overhead. We're going to see this button a little later, but it works great as an anti-air because of the way she kind of does a little cartwheel, and this knocks down the opponent. If they're in the air, you can kind of knock them down to the ground. And you can actually do it early, like kind of anticipate their jump and still knock them down. So pretty useful tool. Then as far as her pokes go, her best poke by far is going to be her standing 1. Her standing 1 has a ton of range. She's sticking her arm out completely, and then also the tip of the side is basically where it hits. And 7 frames, you're +1, so you can kind of just throw this out there. You'll be perfectly fine. Nothing's going to beat you. Obviously, it's a high, so they can duck you, but you know, if you keep doing this, your opponent's not going to be able to beat you ever. She got her forward 3. Forward 3 is also a high, 13 frames, but it moves her forward a little bit and is her highest damaging starter. So if you do manage to land this, you can kind of go into this little string and do your thing. Not as fast as standing 1, but still very, very useful. And she got down 4. Down 4 is a nice little poke, nice little low poke that she kind of has to deal with. You're -6, and it's very quick. Her strongest buttons, I gotta go stand 1, right? Because stand 1 is her fastest poke. You're gonna want to be using this and then into her string. We'll talk about strings a little bit later, but basically this is the button I use the most, you know, because it's a very powerful tool. It's a lot of range, and it can lead you to combos like pretty easily. Then we got her forward 1. Her forward 1 is her only advancing mid attack. So this one actually does take up quite a bit of range. It takes 2 to kind of, from route start, it takes 2 uses in order for you to do it. And then finally, another strong button is going to be her forward 4. We already covered this as far as an anti-air goes, but using it in neutral is extremely powerful. And since it's a normal, that's a double overhead, they kind of have to take it and know what they're doing to block it. So her strongest strings, by far, I like her stand 1-2 into grab. It's a very strong string. So the reason being is that this second hit is an overhead, and not a lot of people know this. When you get to higher in the Combat League, like, yeah, you're gonna see things. However, in most cases, for most characters, the second hit in a combo is not an overhead. So a lot of people are gonna be kind of blocking, standing, and then crouching. And that's when you can clip them. And the cool thing about it is that if I do clip them, they get into this state where I can combo them after 2 hits, because the second hit is actually 2 hits. So if I just press 2, it actually gets me the overhead and the mid. So if you wait for both of those to come out, that's when you can do your up teleport and do your combo from there. But if not, you can use that as a hit confirm. So a very strong string overall. And sometimes when they think they've done it and you've kind of just been staggering this thing, because it is -5 and it puts you quite a bit of distance away, then you just hit them with the grab and they don't expect it, and it's an overhead grab, so they also have to guess, or not guess, but they also have to deal with that last thing. And so because of that, now I could do this into a low at the end. So now you have a true almost a 50-50, right? It's a 30 frame move, just 20 frame move. So the low is a little faster, but you know, you basically have a 50-50-ish situation at the end. Then you got her forward 2-4-4. So this is, again, a triple mid into a fast little low at the end. Cheeky little low that pops them up. You know, you can get a combo off of that like that. Then she got her forward 3-4-3. So it does start with a high, right? That high that we talked about, that forward 3. And then it goes into a mid, which is 2 hits. And this is going to be her highest damaging starter. So you want to do something like this. And then 292 for no meter is not bad at all. That's almost 300 damage. That's really good. And all 4 you just hitting a high. And if you do want to finish the string, it finishes with an overhead. I rarely use it. I probably should use it more. But again, you have that situation where you can just turn that into a low. Because that last hit is 22 frames and the size 20 frames. So definitely use that in your arsenal. We talked a little bit about our air strings. So you got 1-2-2. This bounces them on the floor for you to be able to do combos. Then you have her 2-2-3, and that kind of knocks them away full screen. I don't really see a lot of use for throwing them full screen. Mileena can have a full screen presence, but that's not where she's the strongest. She's the strongest right in front of you. So as far as her weaknesses go, I would say that her size require meter to reach the full screen. So we do say she does have a full screen presence, yes, because of her teleports. However, her teleports are unsafe. So it's not like I can just throw them out there without being punished for it. I had mentioned another weakness of hers is she just doesn't have safe movement options, right? She can get blocked by this, and now I'm eating a full combo punish. And then as far as her attacks, a lot of them start with highs, like for damage anyway. So something like this starts with a high, something like this starts with a high, something like this starts with a high. The ones that are lows or overheads, they're normally just knockdowns. You know, something like this, or something like this. They're going to knock the opponent down. They are not going to let you combo off of it. So the first cameo is going to be Sonya. So I believe that she's the best pairing with Mileena that I've seen so far, that I've tested out. And there's a couple of reasons why. So number one, she's got her energy rings. Now she's got a fast projectile that does hit full screen. You know, Mileena has her half screen size and they don't always get the job done. But with Sonya, you know, there's a lot of pressure going on. Now, yes, it is a summon assist, so I do kind of have to wait and I can't just be jumping around when this is going on. But it's still incredibly useful to have a full screen zoning tool. And she's got her leg grab. So the leg grab kind of is fine, I would say. Yeah, it allows for grounded combo extensions. But that's not really the star of the show. The star of the show is her square wave. Her square wave allows Mileena to do a lot more damage on her combos. So something like this. You know, 400 damage, 1 bar of meter, and all I did was press 1 assist 1 time. Another thing would be her forward 1-4-4. I can now get pretty nice combos off of it. You can do something like this. So 350 for a string that I didn't normally use for combos is pretty good. Normally I just use it for a knockdown. So another one I test out is Scorpion. Now Scorpion is pretty obvious. You know, he's got pretty good combo extension tools with his frame breath. You can do things like this. And kind of finish combos like that. So, you know, at this point, a lot of characters work well with Scorpion just because he's able to do things in the air, but Mileena is able to make her already long combos even longer and do more damage. So that's always nice. He's then got his restand. So this is overhead. So this allows you to do some overhead low situations where you wouldn't normally have them. That string that we were talking about earlier, that forward 1-4-4, can now be a mix-up. Right? It could be a low, could be an overhead. Who knows? So that's pretty useful. And if it is a low, you know, just like that, you get some damage off of it. And then also, you got a way to get the hell out of there. It's a kind of get out of jail free card. So useful, but Mileena doesn't really want to be full screen. It just happens that Scorpion has that move, and you know, you could use it. I just wouldn't recommend it all that much. Maybe you could do some crazy things like Mileena ball, then back out, you know, and then do it again. But that's completely up to you. So the final cameo I got set up here is Kano. So Kano's a very zoning heavy type cameo. So he's got things like his Kano ball, which hits full screen as a mid. He's got his daggers, and he's got his beam. The cool thing about it is that 2 out of the 3 of these moves are ambush assists. You can just do them in the air. So we'll go over his beam first. So his beam, it is a summon assist, hits as a high, does a decent amount of damage. Kind of stops them from zoning because it's so quickly. It hits so fast that you catch the opponent doing something, you know, you can pretty much punish them and just hit them. Maybe not for the full damage of the laser, but definitely will help you out. Then he's got his 2 daggers. So the 2 daggers can be used in combos. You just need to time them because it does take a little bit for them to come out. So you can do something like this and kind of continue offense from there, maybe with like a ball or something like that. So pretty useful, and you could use this as you're coming in. And the daggers can also give you safe approaches. So for example, thinking about doing stuff, and then it can cover the ball. You just need to time it right? So if I'm all the way back here, probably not, but you know, I do the right things. Look, now I'm safe. And so the opponent can't hit me. And that's perfect, because now one of my weaknesses as far as like having unsafe movement options is kind of now gone with Kano. And then also the size not hitting full screen is not really an issue, because Kano's got his daggers, you know, and he's got his beam. Then the final thing, which I think is the most fun to use, is his Kano Ball. So his Kano Ball is going to make you safe on things, right? It's going to push the opponent full screen. But the cool thing about it is that you can cancel it, and you can also hold the ball. So this is a great pressure tool, you know, for your opponent. He's kind of thinking of what might happen, he doesn't know, and then you hit him with an overhead, or you hit him with a low, you know, or even you cancel it and you fucking throw him. As far as pressure goes, there's a lot of setups that you can do with this on knockdown. You know, I knock the opponent down, and now they kind of have to deal with it. And it might come, it might not. I might decide to cancel it. So a lot of shenanigans you can play with Kano, and I definitely recommend it for Mileena. So in terms of movement, she's got a lot of movement options that are crucial to her game plan. The more mobile Mileena is in a fight, the better. You know, being able to throw out your teleports, be very unpredictable with your movement, using your rolls, kind of coming in doing things like this, right? Where they're not expecting things like that, and then you have enough time for an assist. You know, her movement is very important. That even though she's got a lot of movement options, none of them are safe. So you always have to be careful with what you're doing. You're gonna get clipped there, no matter what you do, whether it be any of the teleports. Even if you meter burn them, you know, you're still gonna get clipped. So as far as her strings, she doesn't have a whole lot of them, but she does have a lot of dial-in. So for example, this forward 144. This is a dial-in. You got another one where it looks like this. Is another dial-in, and then she's got grab strings. You know, like this. Side switch. Got another one that's a grab. So she's got a lot of complicated strings, I would say, but they do advance her forward quite a bit. You look at things like this, like from round start, you're getting clipped. And the cool part is that nearly all of them are safe. All of her strings, no matter what you do, you're gonna be pretty much chilling. As far as her specials go, she's got 7 of them, and most of them are unsafe. They're required for her combos and for her movement. A lot of them can be repeated in a combo, and they work well with each other. When it comes to execution, I would say in the beginning, it was very hard for me to grasp due to her dial-ins, and like she has very specific cancel windows. So I had mentioned that something like this, it only works after you do the second hit, right? And then something like this doesn't work at all. You kind of have to be a little bit more knowledgeable, and as you play the character, you're gonna know what goes into what. And finally, for game plan, so she wants to mix you, but while also keeping your opponent on their toes from everywhere on the screen. She's safe on most of her buttons and her strings, so she's really a threat up close. And even if you guess wrong on her mix-up, you're normally fine. You got to use a lot of her strings to like kind of hit confirm, things like this. And then even if they block it, you got to know not to do stuff. So you just got to be a little smart with her. Okay, so now we're going to talk about her overall ease of use rating. So Mileena is a pretty strong character, but she's also very hard to master in my opinion. I would not say she's beginner friendly, but if you put in the time, I think she's well worth it. And you're going to be winning a lot of games if you can truly master this character. She's got a lot of tools. There's a reason her size don't go full screen, because she's got a lot of options from basically everywhere. So if you have any tips or tricks you would like to share about Mileena, or let me know how I did, go ahead and drop it in the comments, leave a like, and subscribe. This has been Enter Mileena.